Hello, I'm Dr. Foojan Zeine, and welcome to the Inner Voice Show. It's a show about what matters most in your life from a psychological perspective. Now, for all of you lovers and all of you who are married and want to keep the love and passion alive in your life, I'm excited to have two of the greatest psychologists who have actually worked on this, not only in their own marriage, but as a theory. And I've been blessed to be able to learn that theory from them. Dr.Harville Hendrix and Dr. Helen LaKelly Hunt are joining us today. Now that's exciting. Dr. Hendrix is a couples therapist with over 40 years of experience as a therapist, educator, clinical trainer, author, and lecturer. And him and his wife, Helen LaKelly Hunt, co-created Imago Relationship Therapy, a therapy for couples now practiced by over 2,000 certified therapists in 30 countries. Dr. Hendrix and Dr. LaKelly Hunt, his wife, have co-authored 10 books on intimate relationships and parenting, including their most recent book, Making Marriage Simple. You can get that, by the way, on Amazon. Referred to by Oprah Winfrey as the marriage whisperer, Dr. Hendrix has been featured on the Oprah show 18 times. Watch for this, winning Oprah her first Emmy for most socially redemptive daytime talk show. For the past 4 years, Dr. Hendrix has been working to ignite a global movement to educate people about the value of healthy, intimate relationships. Now joining us again with him, Dr. Helen LaKelly Hunt has also been an active within the women's movement, helping to catalyze and grow the area of women's philanthropy. 5 years ago, she co-founded Women Moving Millions, a global movement of donors with the goal of raising the bar on women's giving. Dr. LaKelly Hunt is an honored inductee in the National Women's Hall of Fame in Seneca, New York. She's the author of Faith and Feminism, A Holy Alliance, published by Eteria Books, and the recent article of Healthy Marriage, Healthy Women and Girls, inviting the women's movement to take up equality in marriage as an agenda. Her greatest passion is deepening her relationship with her husband, Dr. Hendrix, and their 6 children each day. I am so glad that we're able to have you on our show, and basically, I'm excited to have you, so welcome.
Thank you. We're happy to be here and feel honored.
Dr. Hendrix, I've been to a lot of your lectures, and whether it was on for the Imago Therapy, or I have also been in lectures with both of you in the Ericksonian Masters conferences. And what I've experienced always, not only I have learned so much from you, and I've utilized it in marital therapy with my clients, but also what mostly I've experienced with you and Dr. LaKelly Hunt is the love that is expressed in who the two of you are. It's like when I've watched you do therapy with clients, and as we have learned, you know, the expression of love, humanity, and the essence of the love and consciousness is part of who the two of you have been. And that's mostly why I actually wanted to learn Imago Therapy. And I've actually, when I've been that therapist in the room doing the work that you have taught me, it's spectacular. It just, the whole room lights up with that. And I remember that you honored me with writing in my book, Online Therapy, about how to do Imago Therapy, whether we do it on face-to-face or even online. And I've tried that with couples all over the world, and it really works. So I wanted to have the opportunity to have my audience to see you, and just not for me and the other therapists to have you, but also my audience to get a chance to meet both of you, and for you to talk about the latest research and the latest work you've done with your book.
Thank you. We're happy to be here.
So tell me about your book and the latest that you have experienced within your the realm of the relationship and the therapeutic model, Imago Therapy, that you've created?
Well, I think I'd like for Helen to talk about Making Marriage Simple, because it was her idea, and she basically produced that book because she wanted Imago to be more accessible to people who don't read a lot. So it was a short, pithy, funny book.
Yes, the issue is that when Harville's on Oprah, he sounds very scholarly, and when he makes most of his lectures, he's very scholarly. But in his workshops, he is a goofball, and he is real funny. And I asked him, and then when he gets that way, I get that way. So I asked him if I could produce a book of the theory that is lighthearted, and it doesn't talk about the theory, it just tells people what to do. And I wanted it to be a cartoon book and a funny book. And we didn't know that any publisher would buy it and publish it. And we thought we'd have to give it away. But we had a very successful auction, and the publishers really wanted it. It goes in keeping with Harville's idea that this theory is so important, it shouldn't just be for people who go to therapy, that everyone deserves to have this knowledge about how to move a relationship from conflict to connection. And we think every marriage can thrive so much better with this information.
So when you look at marriage and you're trying to make it simple, the components that you are letting us know that if we upkeep those components, it's going to be creating a loving marriage and a healthy marriage and a simple marriage. Can you let us know about those components?
So shall I respond to that? Yes, there are, over the years, we've worked with thousands of couples, and we've been interested in what is the optimal marriage from a couple's point of view, not something we would arrive at either in research or in our own imagination, but what do couples think would be an optimal marriage. So what we learned is that there are three basic, almost 3 words, or 3 phrases. One of them is that every couple wants a safe relationship. And it's like, that's not even sexy, it's like safe, because if it's not safe, then it's not sexy. So the second thing is that couples want a relationship in which they feel connected, like they are sort of connected at the hip, that they're buddies, friends, best friends. So if you're safe, you can feel that as sort of a... And then the third word was joy, joyfulness, that they want to feel safe, they want to feel connecting, and they like to feel full aliveness. And so when we got clear that that was what couples really want, and that was over the years, we were also interested in what then is the relational technology, to use that word, to help people get what they want. And I think that's what we are excited about in Making Marriage Simple, and in other things that we're doing now, is that there are about 3 things you have to do to have those 3 characteristics of a great relationship. And one is you have to learn how to talk differently, and that's, we call it the safe conversation. Dialogue is a safe conversation. You have to learn how to talk so that you don't hurt each other, scare each other, put each other down. It's very simple. You have to learn how to talk so somebody will talk to you and feels heard and seen and listened to. And the second thing is you really have to make a great sacrifice. I call it the great sacrifice of your negativity. You really have to surrender what most of us seem to feel is a right. We have a right to be judgmental, to say, that's not right. What do you mean? It's my way. You don't just see it this way. So we have to let negativity go. And so we call that the zero negativity pledge, where you look at everybody and your partner, especially through the eyes of love, instead of through the eyes of judgment. And then the third thing we found is you can't just take out the toxin of negativity. You have to also put in nutrients. And those nutrients are what we call relationship care, and there are 3 or 4 core ones that we have found worked over the years. So basically, that's the picture of the great marriage and the formula for getting it.
So when you talk about zero negativity, the first thing that comes to my mind, and I know because I hear it a lot from the audience, is I'm frustrated with something he does or she does. So what do I do with that frustration? Do I just eat it? Do I just forget it? I can't. You know, when I see his socks over there every single day and I keep telling him to move the socks and he doesn't, obviously I'm frustrated. You're telling me just to look at the socks and don't worry about it? So I'm positive of the zero negativity. You also can tell us and the audience what to do with that with the frustration as we're pledging with the zero negativity.
It's important to realize that those frustrations you have are very valid and you should deal with them. But the zero negativity concept allows you to deal with them in a way that isn't so negative and lands on your partner negatively. Because if you're dealing with your frustration in a negative way, your partner will put up their defenses to shield themselves from you, and then they won't do the work. So it's basically learning to deliver your communication in a different way. And it's a way you work out with your partner and get their coaching on how you can bring up some issues, but in a way that won't land negatively. The reason this became important to us is that there was a time in our marriage, it was a low point.
Very low point.
Very low point.
Yeah.
We went for therapy, and the therapist called us the couple from hell. And we failed therapy. So we went home not knowing what to do. And on my end, I sort of thought that negativity had crept in to our relationship. And Harville was giving me a lot of feedback that he thought I was being negative. And I assured him I wasn't being negative. I was trying to help him become a better person. I was willing to give him...
And she did.
I gave him... You got better in spite of me.
Yeah.
I would every day feel like I should give him some pointers on how to improve himself. And I was willing to do it without even collecting a fee or anything, just free. Give him constructive criticism. And I didn't realize how negatively that was landing on him. So we got a calendar and decided at the end of every day, could we make it to at least one day with no negativity? And it was hard. And here we were, experts in relationship, and it took us many, many days to achieve no negativity, even for one day. But when we did, it was so wonderful that has turned into now a strong interest and a campaign.
We're thinking of taking and making I think in about a year we'll have a global zero negativity day with the hope we'll have 1 million people signing up. But let me add to Helen's comment a definition. And the definition Helen says, if your partner feels it's negative, it's negative. And to put content into that, that's a put down. And that's simply what negativity is. It's making you less valuable than you are. Like, what? That's not the right way to turn. Where'd you get an idea like that? Anything that negates your partner. So it's not that negativity, it means you can't have a frustration or deal with a frustration. It means that when you deal with a frustration, that you keep your partner in a place of value rather than devalued. And I think the methodology there is every frustration has in it an embedded wish, a desire. And so what you do when you want the stuff cleaned up in the room and whatever that mess is over there, that you want something. Usually we don't ask for what we want, we say what we don't want, and we make the person really bad for producing that frustration for us. So you learn to ask for what you want. Like, hey, there's a big pile of whatever it is in the room. Could we talk about it? Would you be willing to move it? Can we work out a way for this to not be that? And rather than making the partner bad, you engage them in partnership to solve the problem. So I think that's is the probably general answer that we give to most people who wonder, can I have frustrations anymore? Of course you will have all your frustrations, but don't add to it the overlay of negativity, because then you'll be dealing with the negativity and you'll never get to the frustration because nobody likes to be put down.
It seems like what I'm also hearing from you is that the negativity of assigning to someone's character rather than their behavior. I remember last week we were talking to a client, and as they were talking about their wife, the negativity was so much in the presence of what he was saying about his wife that at one point I had asked, well, if this is truly what you think of your wife, how can you be loving and hug her and make love to her and really see her as the mother of your children who they're role modeling after, and this is someone you want to get old with? So what I hear from you is when we assign that type of negativity to someone's character, it's where they also no longer feel safe, as you said, about being with us, and we don't feel safe about being with them.
Right. Yes, I think that would be a really good distinction. That to not be negative about the person's character, like you're a lazy person, or you're always late, you never, and you always, and all those things, because it moves away from the behavior. And you can also include the behavior that we remove, because you want a new behavior, so you ask for what you want, and then work out what would that look like when you got it. So I think the thing that we push is a partnership relationship, in which you're partners in the project of having a great relationship, a great marriage, whether it's a committed partnership or married partnership. And you give up that partnership when you make your partner the problem. So zero negativity means that you're always looking at your partner through the eyes of love, and that they are never devalued no matter how frustrated you are. And that opens you to a world you've never lived in. It's a world that most of us have never seen. It's a world, a life without judgment, of either being judged or being a judger.
The other part
and we think I think we'd also say that that's probably the door to love.
Yes.
That once you get to zero negativity, then you can go to love. Before then, your partner is an object that you're trying to shape into somebody else.
Yes. The part that I also really enjoyed about Imago Therapy is the form that is created in order to have a safe communication. And I know that at the beginning, when couples are doing this form of communication, it appears very mechanical to them, but it's a jewel. It's a creation of that safe space so that they can express who they are, and they can express what their needs and desires are, and give the time to each other and give value to what they're actually asking for. And I think that value that they put on and what they're asking for, it's like you create the space first for hearing, for someone to listen to you from a loving and an accepting space, and then you put whatever it is that you're wanting the person to hear about you within that space, and then, you know, switch it back and forth, which it seems like it's the core concept of any communication. Can you talk a little bit about that part of Imago Therapy, which I think it started from that being the cornerstone, and then building on that?
Yeah. Okay. So we have, it's called a dialogue process, and we also refer to dialogue as the structure of a safe conversation, because safety is non-negotiable in a great relationship. That's just bottom line. Air is necessary for life. Safety is necessary for a great relationship. So the way to create safety is to learn how to talk in a different way, as you were saying. So this is a structured conversation. It is mechanical at the beginning, but so is playing tennis. Yes. Or doing skiing or any other skill. This is a skill set. So what it involves is one person talking and the other person really listening. One of the ways we talk about it is when Helen is talking to me, she's running her movie. I need to turn my movie off so that I can hear her movie and receive it and also not criticize it. So I mirror it. I ask, am I getting it right? I ask, is there more about that, so that I show interest and curiosity. And when she says, well, that's it, I say, that makes sense, and that means I'm validating it. And I do it empathy, and I can imagine you must be feeling glad, mad, sad, or scared about that. In other words, I reach for the emotion. That's the mechanical, structured way of doing it. And you do that long enough, then it becomes your natural way of talking, is that you then listen without judging, and you pay attention. What we've really learned is that the primal healing of any childhood wound in a relationship, which we think relationships are unconsciously set up for, is to learn to be present, totally present to your partner while they are having their experience. That it's that heals.
And we think of that as being akin to having a spiritual practice.
Right.
For people that are interested in using spiritual concepts, when you study meditation, it's about slowing down the mind. And most of us have a lot of chatter going on in our minds all the time. So when Harville is speaking, and we've decided I'll listen and he'll speak, it's an effort to stop my movie. But it's a healthy thing for the brain to do, to just turn and track one thing and become a witness to your partner's words and your partner's experience, tracking just their words. People go, oh, that's, they hear about it and they say, oh, that's simple. I can mirror what my partner's saying. And they try and they are not successful. Because the partner goes, no, you missed a part. Or, and our real interest is that we have a culture that encourages people to speak better, and they get rewards if they win the debate, and they get promotions if they speak well at work, or stars on their papers at school, but no one rewards a listener. So we do want to try to communicate to the culture, listening is so important, listening is so powerful, it's healing. And the Imago structure will invite both people in learning to speak, but speak succinctly, don't flood your partner, and then to listen.
And it's
because that's where the magic in the listening.
That is where the magic happens. I also was very, very intrigued and excited when I learned Imago Therapy about this concept that the two of you have introduced about the way we choose our partner. Subconsciously, we're choosing our partner as a venue, as if it's a part of our background and our family system, and things about us and our growth that we are choosing a particular partner in order to, in a sense, subconsciously or spiritually, to grow in all the ways that maybe was difficult, maybe it's excruciating for us to do. And then I'm sensing that bridging it to what you're saying today is when I look at my partner as that person who I've chosen to grow with, then maybe it's also easier if I look at it as zero negativity because I've chosen them to go through this part of a leap of growth on my own. So can you please explain a little bit about that part of the theory?
The part about selection?
Yes.
Well, that's the part of the theory that I think sucks the most.
I liked it.
Well, you know, it says, because what it says is, you know, this person that you see across the crowded room and move toward like a butterfly to the flame looks like the person of your dreams. And your unconscious mind, however, is reading a different set of data. your conscious mind is saying, wow, look how beautiful or handsome, and I just got to know this person. Your unconscious mind is saying, mommy and daddy, I'm going to get all my needs met with this person. And the paradox here is that they are similar to mommy and daddy, with whom you did not get your needs met, and now you're falling in love with somebody with whom you will not get your needs met, and they will become the person of your nightmares. And also, we always look for compatibility in intimate partnership, and what we've discovered is that incompatibility is the grounds for great relationship, and compatibility is the grounds for boredom. And that people don't marry compatible people, even if they think they're marrying them. There's enough incompatibility to create the tension of the opposites, which is where the growth occurs. So when you fall in love and the person becomes the person of your nightmares, they in fact become the conduit to your own recovering the original connection that created the problem that led you to pick them as a partner. So it's like a good thing, but it certainly sucks when you think about it. I've often wondered, and we've said, why did nature set it up so that you fell in love with people who had all the things you needed already on tap, and all you had to do was just go get it? But somehow nature wouldn't let us cheat, I guess, because that's just not the way it's set up for anybody.
So you talked about boredom, compatibility creates some boredom into the relationship, and that probably long-term relationship after the novelty is gone and we kind of know each other in that way, and it's a zero negativity, so we're consistently in a love and safety and all of that. If that by itself does not create some sort of an excitement, and it creates some sort of a boring, and as we see on TV, we have to create some negativity with some excitement somewhere in order for our blood to turn, because every aspect of safety will also calm us down. What is the antidote to boring? What do you suggest?
You really have to focus on joy. Mm-hmm. And think about what brings pleasure to your partner, and do that, and tell your partner what brings fun and excitement to you. I know one of the things I did in our marriage a long time ago, I thought, well, I shouldn't have to tell Harville what I need to feel loved. We've been married for 15 years. If he doesn't know it by now,
when's he ever going to get it?
Yeah, he isn't, I'm not even going to bother telling him again. And that kind of victim position doesn't, exacerbates the boredom. It's just not a healthy thing. And it was so wonderful with the breakthroughs in neuroscience that they've discovered that energy follows attention. What we focus on is what then becomes manifest. So every day, the two of you thinking about caring behaviors and giving each other 2 or 3 caring behaviors a day, giving each other appreciations, as Harville said earlier. It's free. Like, it doesn't cost either of you anything, but we started about 15 years ago expressing 3 appreciations to each other before we went to sleep at night. What a way to go to sleep. That was the time I used to say to give Harville my suggestions for his improvement. And that was a horrible way to go to sleep.
So the intentions were right, just a different method now.
Yeah.
It really, psychology, the last year is tracking us, or we are tracking it, with the realization by a lot of theorists that is sort of making headline news in psychological papers in the United States, that great mental health isn't about achieving great psychological insights. That really the best kind of therapy that results in good mental health is helping people create healthy habits. It's little tiny things every day. So every couple should spend time writing down their 10 or 15 behaviors that will make them feel cared about, and give that to their partner, and their partner work with that so that the what they do is right on target.
Yeah.
What their partner needs, and it's so little. It's so little. And the boredom goes away and the passion returns.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that that boredom means you become preoccupied with your own needs. And therefore, you're bored, because most of us are boring when we are self-possessed and self-preoccupied.
Very true.
Because there's no tension, no input, no output and input. So the way to do what Helen's talking about at the theory level is to remain curious about your partner, to be interested, to express curiosity. And what's interesting is Helen and I have been married 31 years. We've been together 36 years. Just not too long ago, we were in the, remember the morning you asked me about my life? Tell me about your life.
I know. I said, how are you feeling these days?
How are you feeling these days? But at any rate, you know, it's in a safe moment, you discover there's some parts of you you've never expressed.
He just said all these things about his life that I had no idea. And
so I became a more interesting person at that moment.
So fascinating. And I had tried so hard to know who Harville was that if you wanted to know how Harville was feeling in any given day, just ask me, because I knew. I not only knew him, but I also knew what he needed. And I didn't stop and just get curious and ask him questions. And so about 10 years ago, I started just asking him more questions. I sometimes do say, how are you feeling about your life right now? Or how are you feeling overall? And, you know, for someone who's not used to their partner asking that, they might go, oh, fine, there's nothing to say. They might say that once or twice.
Yeah, or if they don't feel safe.
Yeah, but who doesn't want someone interested in that? So any of you that might be listening and want to try it, just, you know, be gentle with it. But boy, when you ask your partner, you know, how they're really feeling about what's working in their life and what's not working, their partner's hungry to tell them. And that's you talk about the way to intimacy and excitement is really, really being a witness to all of your partner's experiencing.
Yeah, and I also like the other thing that we've done is try to catch your partner doing something good every day. So that makes you really pay attention to your partner, and you're looking for, wow, look at that good thing they did. You know, how they were kind to somebody else or rubbed your back or something, and then tell them about it. I caught you doing something good. And usually we catch them doing something bad and tell them about it. But if you take that energy of what are my partner's needs, let me catch them doing something good, let me stay curious, the boredom will go away, because the boredom is an absence of the tension of the opposites. So when we engage with, it's always interesting. And when we're engaged with ourselves, there's no difference. So there's no tension, and therefore the boredom comes out of preoccupation with the self.
So as I hear you, some of the rituals and some of the guidelines as people can choose and add to it in what it is in their life. One is, as I hear it, is continue being curious and not making our partner as an object that is fixated at one point in time. So if I look at a dynamic person in front of me, then ultimately I consistently want to ask who this person is today and at every moment, and I get excited about that person, and they get excited that somebody's interested in asking. And then the zero negativity concept, where if there's negativity coming to my mind, in how to structure the communication so that that they can hear my point without them being the bad person, but they can hear the frustration or whatever it is, that they can change the behavior, but also start looking for new things in my partner that is consistently positive, and express that so they know that in my eyes, I see them on the pedestal. In my eyes, I love them. In my eyes, I see their good points, and that they can also strive and feel good about somebody seeing who they are as the greatness that they are. And also expression of completing the day with three points that we saw and appreciate that one thing is about them and seeing the good thing about them, but another part is about me and my appreciation of who they are and to express that about them. So anything else the two of you want to add to these forms that you're suggesting?
That was a great mirror.
Thank you.
very, very complete. So you listened well. I was thinking, did we say all that? Yeah, and we did. And nothing else comes up for me right now. Do you have something coming up for you?
Well, I'll say a final thing is that whoever you're married to or in a relationship with, they're longing to be a shero or a hero in your life. Like they want to come through. And we're often the ones that are so critical of them that it's self-defeating. You know, we keep focusing on what they need to change, and they get discouraged, and they might collapse and give up inside. And I love what you're saying, Harville, about look for something your partner did right that day, and your partner wants to come through for you if you'll just get out of the way and let them, give them some pointers, ask for what you do want, staying out of that victim place. And it really is an important transformation. Oh, I think the last thing is that we really feel the space between two people is where, for those that use God language, that this is really for the Spirit of God can come and reside in your life, not inside of you or inside of your partner, but really in how the two of you express love to each other. And that's what makes this a way to, you'll feel the love of your partner and give that, but it'll become a loving energy in the world.
Absolutely. And
what is it? When love is created in a relationship, God shows up in between. Because love and God are pretty identical. Yeah, I think the last thing I would say, too, is that zero negativity is the beginning of love. Because in zero negativity, you see the other, and you can't see the other as long as you're judging because you're seeing the projections of yourself. So that the beginning of love is the end of criticism. And until then, it's probably not love, it's probably need that's driving the relationship. So that's a hard thing to say and a challenging thing to say. But, and I'm a logical, linear person, it seems to, that's the logic, that love is born when judgment ends.
Thank you so much for accepting my invitation, and I know that you are traveling in different locations and you've created the space to be on this interview and on this show, so I really thank you. I'm so excited about the new movements that you are moving along, which is the zero negativity and the movement about women, and so I'm grateful to have you on this show, and I'm hoping that you'll accept my invitation as we go along and your next books are on the horizon and come along, and any new experiences that you have within your own marriage and the theory and all that you go along and bring it back and share it with our audience.
Thank you. We'd be happy to do so. We're really honored to be interviewed.
Yes.
Thank you, and goodbye to you. And
goodbye.
Thank you so much for being with us, and I'll be here again next Monday. And until then, thank you and good night.
خرد زندگی، مجموعه‌ای از CD-های صوتی که شما رو به اعماق وجود خودتون میبره تا آرامش درون، خواب آسوده، رهایی از احساساتی که شما رو آزار میده و با بدن خودتون متصل میکنه، به زبان فارسی و انگلیسی. این مجموعه با صدای دکتر فوژان زینی شما رو هیپنوتیزم میکنه و کلمات تلقینی به کار رفته میشه تا شما رو سریعتر به اهداف خودتون برسونه، با موسیقی که به شما آرامش میده و با تکنیک مانورو بیت. برای سفارش این CD های صوتی با دکتر فوژان زینی در تارنمای foojan.com تماس بگیرید و یا با شماره تلفن 818 648 2140 818 648